The small town of Ravenscroft was shrouded in an eerie mist that clung to the ground like a ghostly blanket. Legend had it that the fog carried with it the whispers of the restless spirits that haunted the town. Among the most chilling tales was that of the phantom footsteps that echoed through the foggy streets every night. Thomas, a skeptical journalist with a taste for the macabre, arrived in Ravenscroft to investigate the mysterious occurrences. Armed with a camera and a voice recorder, he ventured out into the foggy night. The air was thick with an otherworldly chill as he made his way through the deserted streets. As Thomas walked, he heard the faint sound of footsteps behind him. He quickened his pace, but the footsteps matched his every move. Panic set in as he realized that he was not alone in the fog. He turned around, his camera capturing nothing but the dense mist. The footsteps persisted, growing louder and more menacing. Thomas felt an unseen presence closing in on him. Desperation consumed him as he sprinted through the fog, the footsteps now a relentless pursuit. He stumbled over gravestones in the town cemetery, the fog clinging to the headstones like spectral fingers. In a moment of terror, Thomas fell to the ground, his camera rolling away from him. The footsteps surrounded him, a cacophony of spectral echoes. As the fog thickened, Thomas felt cold hands reaching out from the mist, pulling him into an ethereal abyss. His screams faded into the haunting echoes of the phantom footsteps, joining the chorus of the town's tormented souls. In the quiet village of Eldridge, an ancient curse cast a long shadow over its unsuspecting inhabitants. The fog that blanketed Eldridge was not just a weather phenomenon. It was a shroud for the malevolent entity known as the Silent Stalker. Every night, as the fog crept through the streets, the villagers would hear the chilling sound of footsteps approaching. Emma, a curious teenager with a penchant for exploring the unknown, became obsessed with the legend of the Silent Stalker. Determined to unravel the mystery, she set out one foggy evening armed with a flashlight and a sense of trepidation. The village seemed deserted as she navigated the misty labyrinth of narrow alleys. The footsteps began, soft and deliberate, echoing through the empty streets. Emma's flashlight flickered as she turned to face the unseen presence. The fog parted, revealing a shadowy figure shrouded in darkness. The Silent Stalker emerged from the mist, its featureless face fixed on Emma. Frozen in terror, Emma watched as the entity closed in, the footsteps growing louder with each passing moment. The village seemed to vanish into an abyss, leaving only Emma and the Silent Stalker in a surreal void. The air turned colder as the footsteps circled her, a spectral dance of malevolence. Unable to escape, Emma felt an unseen force enveloping her, suffocating her screams. The Silent Stalker absorbed her fear, leaving only a haunting silence in its wake. The fog dispersed, revealing the deserted village once again. Emma's presence was erased, her fate sealed in the enigmatic embrace of the Silent Stalker. Highway 13 was notorious for its desolation, a winding road that cut through a dense forest. Travelers spoke in hushed tones about the legend of the phantom hitchhiker, a ghostly figure that appeared on foggy nights, seeking a ride to an unknown destination. Mark, an adventurous thrill-seeker, scoffed at the tales and decided to test his bravery by driving down Highway 13 one misty night. The fog clung to the road like a spectral veil as Mark sped through the winding turns. He laughed off the eerie atmosphere until he saw a figure standing on the side of the road. A young woman, pale and ethereal, raised her hand in a gesture of desperation. Mark hesitated but eventually pulled over, intrigued by the mysterious hitchhiker. The woman entered the car without a word, her presence sending shivers down Mark's spine. The fog outside thickened as the car moved forward. Silence enveloped the vehicle, broken only by the occasional sound of the engine. Mark attempted small talk, but the hitchhiker remained silent, staring out into the fog with vacant eyes. The air inside the car grew colder as the fog seeped through the windows. Mark glanced at the rearview mirror, only to find the hitchhiker missing. Panic set in as he realized that he was no longer alone. The phantom footsteps echoed through the car, circling him in an unseen dance. Desperation consumed Mark as he tried to escape the spectral presence. The fog outside became impenetrable, the road disappearing into an abyss. Mark's heart raced as he heard a whisper in the fog, the hitchhiker's voice echoing a haunting message. The car came to a sudden halt, surrounded by an otherworldly glow. In the silence that followed, Mark felt a cold hand on his shoulder. The hitchhiker's ghostly face appeared inches from his own, her eyes reflecting an eternity of sorrow. The fog embraced them both as Mark's screams faded into the night, the phantom hitchhiker claiming another soul for the spectral highway. As the first light of dawn broke through the fog, Highway 13 lay still and desolate, a haunted stretch of road where the phantom footsteps lingered, echoing the tales of those who dared to venture into the misty unknown.